Ever feel like online commentary has gotten a little, I don't know, too judgmental? Like people jump to conclusions before they even, have all the facts.
Oh, absolutely. It's like everyone's just waiting to pounce on someone, especially if they've made mistakes in the past.
Exactly. And that's what makes this LinkedIn article by David Vogel so interesting. He really digs into this issue of irresponsible online commentary.
And he uses some pretty high-profile examples to make his point, like Sammy the Bull Gravano.
And he even calls out YouTuber Jeff Nadeau by name for some of his, well, less than charitable commentary.
Right. And what makes Vogel's perspective so unique is that he's not just some random commentator. I mean, the guy is a retired CEO, a solar energy expert, and even a pastor.
It's true. He's got this really interesting background. And I think it gives his argument a lot of weight because he's coming at this from multiple perspectives.
Definitely. And he starts by talking about Gravano, who, as you probably know, was a pretty high-ranking member of the Gambino crime family.
Involved in some pretty serious stuff, to put it mildly.
Yeah, not exactly the kind of guy you'd picture giving sermons on Sunday morning. But that's kind of Vogel's point. Gravano has found faith and is now a YouTube personality, talking openly about his past and his, journey to redemption.
It's a pretty fascinating story. And I think a lot of people are drawn to it, this idea that even someone who's done terrible things can change and find forgiveness.
Right. But that's where Jeff Nadeau comes in. He has this big online platform, and he basically uses it to tear into Gravano's claims of finding faith.
It's pretty harsh. Nadeau implies that because of Gravano's past, his baptism is just like a publicity stunt.
Yeah. He even suggests that genuine change is impossible for someone like Gravano. Like he's just, incapable of redemption.
Which is a pretty bold statement. And Vogel really takes issue with this. He argues that Nadeau's dismissal of Gravano's faith is not only insensitive, but also ignores a core principle of, Christianity.
Exactly. The whole concept of redemption, this idea that we're all flawed, we all make mistakes, but through faith, we can be forgiven and transformed.
And it's not just a Christian thing, right? It's this bigger idea that people can change. Like they can learn from their mistakes and become better versions of themselves. Vogel's point is that Nadeau is denying Gravano that possibility just because of his past actions.
And he uses Gravano as this powerful example of the power of redemption. This idea that it's available to anyone, no matter what they've done.
It really makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, where do we draw the line between healthy skepticism and just outright judgment, especially online?
It's a good question, and it's something that Vogel seems to be wrestling with throughout his article.
Because he then goes on to talk about another example. He says, despite all the accusations on online chatter, Trump has never been convicted of rape. Yet so many people online, including some in the media, still label him as such.
Yeah, it's like they've already decided he's guilty, regardless of what the actual facts might be.
And Vogel's not necessarily defending Trump's character here. He's more focused on this bigger issue of spreading misinformation, especially when it comes to something as serious as, rape allegations.
And to make matters worse, Vogel shares this personal anecdote about a run-in he had with a LinkedIn influencer. This woman, she has over 1 million followers, right? And she makes that same factually incorrect statement about Trump being a convicted rapist.
And get this, he politely challenges her in the comment section, just trying to, correct the misinformation.
And what happens?
She deletes his comment and then proceeds to send him a bunch of, nasty private messages.
Wow. So much for open dialogue and a free exchange of ideas, huh?
Right. It's like, if you disagree with me, I'm just going to shut you down.
And that, I think, is Vogel's main point. This kind of behavior is becoming all too common online. People are so quick to attack or silence anyone who disagrees with them.
And it's often done through spreading misinformation or resorting to, personal insults.
Makes you wonder, what's the point? Is it really about seeking truth and understanding? Or is it about something else? It's like the goal is just to win, to be right, even if it means being nasty or spreading lies.
Yeah, and Vogel connects this back to the whole Sammy Gravano thing. He says this rush to judge, to condemn, and to just refuse to even consider that someone might have changed. It really mocks this whole idea that God can change people.
It's a pretty deep point when you think about it. Like, who are we to say that someone can't be redeemed?
Right. And it makes you think about, your own behavior online. Are we part of the problem? Are we contributing to this culture of like instant judgment and condemnation? Or are we trying to, be part of the solution?
Especially when you consider the reach that some of these people have, like that LinkedIn influencer Vogel talked about with her million followers. She has a huge platform, and she's using it to shut down any kind of dissenting voices.
It's almost like she's afraid of having her views challenged. Like, if someone disagrees with her, she just, deletes them and moves on.
Which is kind of ironic, right? Because she's supposed to be this like thought leader, this influencer, but she's not actually interested in having a real conversation.
It all circles back to Vogel's main argument, this trend of just like reckless online commentary. It's not about truth. It's not about understanding. It's about winning, about silencing anyone who disagrees with you. And ultimately, it's about maintaining a certain image or narrative.
It's like the online world has become this echo chamber where everyone just agrees with each other, and anyone who dares to say something different is immediately attacked or ostracized.
And that's scary because it means we're not actually learning or growing. We're just reinforcing our own biases and shutting ourselves off from any new information or perspectives.
Exactly. And you know what's interesting? Vogel doesn't just complain about this problem. He actually offers a solution. He talks about the importance of what he calls mindful ethics.
Mindful ethics.
What's that? Well, it's basically about being more thoughtful and responsible in how we engage online. Being aware of the impact of our words, being willing to listen to other viewpoints, and making sure that, our arguments are based on facts and truth, not just emotion or personal attacks.
So it's like thinking before you tweet.
Pretty much. He emphasizes the importance of civil discourse, actually having respectful debates and genuinely wanting to understand, not just condemn.
It's a powerful message, especially in today's world. But do you think it's realistic? I mean, can you really promote mindful ethics in a space that often feels like it's driven by conflict and outrage?
It's a tough question. It would definitely require a pretty big shift in mindset. People would have to start prioritizing empathy and understanding over just trying to score points or win arguments.
I wonder if those who are so quick to judge and condemn would even be open to considering a different approach.
I mean, it's a challenge for sure. But I think what Vogel's getting at is that we all have a responsibility to be more mindful, how we engage online. It's so easy to get caught up in the heat of the moment and just, fire off a snarky comment or share something without even checking the facts.
Especially when you see everyone else doing it too. It's like this snowball effect where suddenly all this bad behavior online becomes, normal. But Vogel's piece, it reminds us that even in the digital world, words have power.
They really do. And we should use them carefully.
Exactly. He's not saying we can't disagree with people or challenge their viewpoints. I mean, he actually encourages, healthy debate. Yeah. But it's about how we do it, right? Are we attacking the person or are we engaging with their ideas respectfully? Even if we disagree, strongly. And it's interesting how he brings us back to the idea of judging someone's redemption. He argues that when we're so quick to condemn someone just based on their past, we're basically closing ourselves off to the possibility that they might have grown or changed.
Yeah. We're denying them the opportunity to prove that they're not the same person they used to be.
And in a way, aren't we all works in progress? I mean, haven't we all made mistakes? We've all done things that we regret. And don't we hope that others will see, our potential for growth and change rather than judging us solely on our past actions?
It's a humbling thought, for sure. And I think that's what Vogel's trying to do, encourage a little more humility and understanding in how we interact with each other online.
It's about recognizing that there's often more to the story than what we see on the surface. People are complex. They're capable of both good and bad.
So maybe instead of rushing to judgment, we should approach these online encounters with a bit more curiosity. Yeah. Willingness to listen and a genuine desire to understand, even if we don't agree.
So maybe the takeaway here is that we could all use a dose of what Vogel calls mindful ethics, both online and offline. It's about being more thoughtful, more responsible, and more compassionate in our interactions with others.
And remembering that behind every screen name, every profile picture, there's a real person with their own story, their own struggles, and their own potential for growth and change.
It's a powerful message, and one that I think we could all stand to hear a little more often. So as you navigate the digital world today, maybe take a moment to pause, reflect, and choose your words carefully. You never know what impact they might have. Stay well, swim strong, and maybe think twice before hitting post today.